Hello everyone, welcome back to Where Are We Now? The series made to satisfy your exploration/sleep aid/mealtime video needs. It's November now, which is nice because it's cold outside, but not so cold that it hurts your face yet. This is definitely going to make some of you feel old, me included. But this month, 13 years ago, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim released and won over the masses with its casual approach to the RPG formula and charming glitches numbering in the hundreds. I'd call it Bethesda's greatest achievement yet. Now I have, a few hours across a couple versions of Skyrim, so I have something of a special connection to it. And I have huge respect for what it can be thanks to the modding community. It's got one of the most prolific mod scenes in PC gaming ever, with almost 200,000 individual mods available on the Nexus Mods website alone. It's one of the few games where you can spend more time tinkering with your mod list than actually playing it if you're really into it, which I am. Creativity is found in abundance here, and that's one of the main reasons why I feel like it is a very fitting candidate for this series. Skyrim's insanely rich selection of mods gives us generous opportunities for exploration. In today's episode of Where Are We Now, that exploration is going to come in the form of player homes. I think you can observe a lot about a creator by looking at the way they design a home. Your home in Skyrim is where you go to hang up your axe and relax after a long day of adventuring and training with Parthenax. It's where you go to give your adopted children gifts before ignoring them for another 30 hours. You know, the calm between the storms. What that calm looks like varies greatly, so for this episode, we've got an extra layer in our analysis. We are going to be looking at exactly how livable these player homes are. I'm not talking about game mechanics or anything like that. I'm talking about the actual factual necessities of life. Like, if you got isekai'd into Skyrim land and this was your home, how comfortably could you live in it? Because, let's be honest here, this world is dangerous, man. You can barely travel 50 feet without being accosted by some bandits or a hungry saber cat. And while that may be merely an annoyance for a dragonborn that has the experience of smelting 1,000 iron daggers, to normal people like you and me, it's a war zone. So we stay inside. Alright, I'm excited. Let's get right into it. The first house we'll be homing in on takes us to Dawnstar, one of Skyrim's few port cities. To be frank, the port is the only reason Dawnstar is even on the map. It's not too bad a town, though, if you can look past the bitter cold, animal attacks, struggling economy, the vampire clan one holdover, strange nightmares, depressed population, and the distinct lack of sunlight. Not bad at all. This is Morskom Estate by Dark Fox 127 and Elianora. I actually have used this particular mod on a couple of old playthroughs of mine, but that was on the old version for Legendary Edition. Now it's available for Special Edition with a host of improvements and upgrades, so I'm excited to see what's changed. Well, first off, we can't even get inside without talking to the caretaker of the building first. Ugh, what has Skyrim come to? You can't even explore abandoned buildings anymore. So after we speak with the caretaker of the building, Cragor, we learn that the house is haunted. I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, look at it. A bit of snooping around later, we can find the former homeowner's journal and sift through a total of 27 entries. Christ. There's lots of lore and story here, but for the sake of the video, we're just going to skip to the good part. Vanquishing that pesky spirit so that we can buy the house. I got your exorcism right here, fella. Kapow! Right hooks are the best kind of exorcism. If you can pony up 7,500 septims after punching that ghost, Morskom Estate is yours. Though if you ask me, that price is a little high, given that there's almost no furniture in here at all, and it's dirty as hell. You can't tell me this place doesn't have vermin problems. It's like Ratopia in here. They probably already have a provisional government set up right here in the walls. Huh. I really like the loft in this back room here. Those windows up there let a lot of light in. I look forward to seeing it not covered in dust and spider houses. Alright, time to get to work. If you want nice things in this world, unless you're old money, you have to make them yourself. After adding a heaping amount of elbow grease and resources, this place is pretty class. If you can get over the sentient mannequins, that is. And I was right about the loft. This area really shines with a new coat of paint. The lighting is wonderfully done. It feels cold in parts and warm in others, which is what I'd expect from a big drafty house like this one. One issue I do see, though, is that you really need to have a doormat at this back door here. It's just too snowy in Dawnstar. You're going to track snow in here, and then what's going to happen to this untreated wood floor? It's going to swell and it's going to rot, that's what. Oh, this hearth room here is perfect. You've got these 2 chairs right here by the warmth of the fire so that you can sit and ponder while you warm your piggies. And right over here you have this really pleasant writing area with lots of space. You could do plenty of research here. It's not just for show either. This desk lets you sign up to receive mail in your little mailbox outside. There's a book club you can sign up for that'll ship you new books regularly. That is such a cool feature. I don't believe I've seen that replicated elsewhere. It's kind of funny if you think about it though. This would be the only house in the whole country with a mailbox. All these mail services exist just for you. I like the mental image of dozens of people working in a network of couriers and book curators just to entertain one person. There's also this huge pipe organ, so if you feel like tickling the ivories, you can. I don't, though. More of a string instrument guy. Wait, aren't pianos technically string instruments? Huh. The crafting room is nice and complete, but lighting this fire pit and smithing stuff indoors is just asking for trouble. I don't care if you have a fancy dwarven contraption for smoke ventilation. Total fire hazard. Check out this kitchen. Oh, this is great. Is that a sink? This place has a sink. How often do you see a kitchen sink in a Skyrim home? And the oven is a great addition. I've always been partial to the cooking pot myself since it lets the smell of whatever you're cooking waft out more freely. But I don't think there's anything a cooking pot can do that this oven can't if you have the right cookware. Plus, this oven has the added benefit of possibly being the warmest spot in the house. You will definitely be bringing some furs down here to the stove and spending some of those infamous Skyrim winter nights huddled up right here on the kitchen floor. And you'd be right to do that. This place is pretty drafty by the looks of things. Now, the lack of a larder in the kitchen bothers me a little bit, but it's so damn cold up here, meat will keep better naturally. It should be fine to store it like this, just be sure not to overstock. I did tell myself I would stop talking about toilets so much when I find them while exploring because there's just so many, but right here, I can't ignore it. This is a fancy looking toilet, but making it out of wood is a terrible idea. I mean, right here beside it, you've got this huge tiled bath area, which is lovely, by the way, so why not use some of that material for the toilet? And you might be thinking, but Logan, aren't outhouses made of wood? People used those for years. Yeah, but outhouses are outside, you know, where smells don't get trapped. Oh, it's not just a visual thing. You can actually receive buffs by using the toilet. Let me guess. Increased carry weight? Yup. Oh, stamina regen too. Nice. Alright, let's check out this tub. Oh, it actually fills up? That's cool. You know what? I can actually see why this place was so expensive now, even if it didn't have any furniture inside of it. It has real running water. The accommodation here is unmatched. For all you magey types, this room upstairs serves as something of an arcane study. You have your potion mixing station, your enchantment stuff, and something unique, scroll crafting. Using your enchantment skill and a little bit of writing supplies, you can craft scrolls here. That might be handy to some, but I don't know. Me, historically, I've never really been all that into magic. I think it's cool, don't get me wrong, but most of the uses I get out of it are for utility. Like, oh, I'm out camping and I forgot to forage for kindling? Fireball. Or maybe the taxman comes to collect his charge for the Jarl? Also fireball. Oh, wow, you can even change the rug. Look at that. But yeah, for me, I would repurpose this room. Maybe put a billiards table in the middle and put up a flat screen so I can watch wood carving videos while I sink them. You know, guy things. Heading upstairs, we're greeted with a children's bedroom. So if you choose to raise a family here, you could. I really like the miniatures here of the troll and the wolves. So lifelike. How'd they do that? It's kind of scary. But don't worry. Your children will be perfectly safe, sleeping soundly right next to a trophy room, where you can display all your deadly weapons and cursed Daedric artifacts from your many adventures. The master bedroom just beyond that is nothing to sneer at. This is probably the biggest and best closet I've seen in a Skyrim mod. Plenty of room for all my copies of Nocturnal's robes. And another hearth? It's really nice, but it isn't lined up with the fireplace downstairs at all. Are there 2 chimneys? Oh shit, look at that! There is 2 chimneys! Wow, that's an astounding level of detail. Color me impressed. And check this out, there's even bedrolls tucked under the bed that you can take out in case you want to have a sleepover with some buddies. This place is fantastic. It has everything you need and more. It's suitable for all types of characters. Warriors, mages, rogues. There's also a basement which has 2 extra bedrooms for your companions and full freaking brewery tanks, Ysmir's beard. And I haven't even talked about the backyard. Actually, I don't think I will. I gotta leave you with something to discover on your own. Dark Fox and Elianora really thought of everything here. I would consider Morskom Estate perfectly livable. It's a highbrow property for the highbrow citizen. It has the space and the features of a mansion-style home without coming off as sprawling or overcrowded the way a lot of them do. The only con is that it's going to remain quite drafty in here year-round thanks to the high ceilings and the way it's built on top of a hill. Oh, and the fact that you'd have to live in Dawnstar, of all places. But what if you're not exactly into the put-together look, and you want your pad to be a little more lived in? What if you feel like embracing your inner mole and having a home underground? For all you tunnelers, this next one is for you. This humble little mound of mossy rocks is called Myrkheimr, created by HarshyMarsh and converted to Special Edition by one from Vault 22. It may look familiar to you if you've done your fair bit of adventuring around Skyrim, because Myrkheimr is actually a renovated Nordic tomb. I use the word renovated very loosely here. I have to say, this comes as a surprise to me. You wouldn't think the local conservative Nord population would be okay with someone turning the resting place of their dead ancestors into low-rent housing. But then again, who's to say they even know about it? And hey, look at this. They had the foresight to keep their forge outside. Nice. You won't die in an easily preventable house fire here. Better be careful coming down these steps while the smelter is running, though. These stone slabs here probably get red hot. Alright, let's head inside. Oh, nice. A big hearth right here at the door so that you can just plop on down after a long day and crack open a cold ale. I'm not really sure where the smoke is getting out, though. The neat part about this place is that the whole thing is a cellar, so the coolness will help keep beverages cold and prevent food from spoiling so easily. I also have to give points to the rugs on the floor, but you could definitely do with a few more if you plan on walking around barefoot in here. If you've ever gone outside in the wintertime barefoot and walked on concrete, you know what I mean. This kind of floor just saps the heat out of you. Man, it's sort of messy in here, but like the good messy. It lends it a lived-in type feel. And if you're okay with living inside a Nordic tomb, then you're probably okay with a bit of mess. I'm a fan of this layout too. The radial shape of the tomb lends itself to a really practical floor plan. Each little alcove on the outside is a separate tiny room. This one here is the pantry. I wouldn't store your raw meat like that on wooden furniture. That's just asking for a bad smell to settle in. And down here underground, you do not want that. You've got these racks up here. You could easily make room for a few shanks of venison and fish. It'll help keep the bugs away too, but if you're tall like me, you may have to duck to get in here. Small price to pay for avoiding parasites, in my opinion. You'd have to take the good with the bad. I have heard people say that they find it immersion breaking when a home has all these unique items around for decoration, like these Dragon Priest masks. If you haven't collected that mask yet, and it's one of a kind, then why is it here? I can see where they come from, but personally, I don't mind. I think there's a lot of decor potential to be had by placing some of the more unique items around for flair. In this case, I guess we can just assume that these were the possessions of the previous homeowner. Looks like they were quite the collector. I wonder what happened to them. Food poisoning, most likely. These windows. They let in a lot of nice natural light, but don't they make this place kind of a flood risk? I think the walls are pretty well insulated against groundwater and stuff, since there are dozens of these tombs dotting Skyrim and almost none of them are flooded. But when you've got numerous openings in the ceiling and the roof is shaped like a dome, you're looking at a lot of runoff here. Oh, look at this. It looks like I'm not the only one that saw the problem. The previous owner must have started covering them up. Yeah, I bet that was annoying. Imagine you're just sitting back in your super duper comfy stone slab chair, slamming back a couple of ales before bedtime, and then suddenly you hear some thunder crack, and the rain picks up outside, water pours in and pools on the floor, and all your books and scrolls on the ground are ruined. That would suck. If you treasure your collection of priceless literature, and you're content with living like a slob like the previous tenant, then I'd recommend you get some good leather workers to make you some rainproof covers for the windows. This is the bed? That's disappointing. There's not even a pillow. Your spine is going to be all sorts of fucked up. I guess it's better than like a stone slab like the chairs. Even so, you could easily fit a bigger, more comfy bed over here in the back if you cleared out some of this dirt and underbrush. As a matter of fact, with such a small interior, you could make better use of a lot of this space. Yeah, back here you could totally fit a nice bedroom. I want to say there's room for a double bed and an armoire. Maybe a couple of chests for storing goodies? I don't know. And then, this whole corner right here with the bed and the tables, you know what I'm thinking? Breakfast nook. And this stuff over here, what is this? You got ores, ingots, some bones. All these smithing materials, take them all up to the forge. You don't have to store those down here. It'd be better to have them near the forge anyway, so you don't have to come in every time you need to reforge your sword or whatever. If you do that, you've got this entire place over here to work with. That's a whole other room. You could have a trophy room to display your armors and weapons, a guest bedroom for your traveling companions, or, better yet, a library, so that your shit isn't all over the floor when you get a leak. You could fit 2 or 3 big bookshelves here, and still have room for a writing desk or sitting space. Yeah, do that. As it stands, both ends of this place are just places to display your piles of dirt. It's just not productive. Unless you're the dirt man. Oh, what is this? It looks like the previous owner of the property left some stuff in this here chest. Ah, certainly if they wanted to keep it, they would have locked this, right? Besides, I could do with some new duds. There we go. Stylish. Alright, we've seen the home, but with a place like this far from any major towns, you gotta be careful of your surroundings. Well, just to the north you have the humble Half Moon Mill. I'm sure they'd make lovely neighbors. Their property overlooks the scenic Lake Elianora, which is teeming with salmon and Abetian longfin year-round. Not to mention the forests of Falkreath Hold are famously good for hunting. So if you're quick with a bow and light on your feet, food is more or less taken care of. Water should be good too. If you don't want to go up to the lake, there's also a stream not too far from it where you can fill your skins and wash up, as long as you can brave the tyranny of the local mud crabs. I do worry about the proximity to the main road though. It's only about 30 feet away from your doorstep. Any intrepid adventurer or thieving bandit looking for a hiding spot is going to find this place very easily. And they wouldn't even be wrong to assume this place is abandoned, like almost all other Nordic tombs. I recommend some heads on pikes to prevent that. I guess a simple sign would work too, but the message is stronger with the heads thing. Considering all that, Myrkheimr isn't so bad. I'm pleasantly surprised. Sure, it's messy, and sure it lacks the accommodations of a place like Morskom Estate, but it's got character. I guess whether I'd recommend living here depends on what kind of person you are. If you're a druid or a classic double toil and trouble witch, I'd have to recommend it. It's got everything you need. It's full of plants and bugs and stuff, so there'd be no shortage of cauldron ingredients. If you're just a regular Joe looking for a place to settle down, maybe raise a family, definitely no. Don't live here. It's far from any town. You're bound to attract trouble from the road at some point. And if you're not skilled at bushcraft, you'll have to work extra to keep your pantry stocked. I will say though, the whole Nordic tomb look will definitely keep those pesky HOA reps away. Sure, they're real gung-ho about lawn ornaments and ideal grass length and shit, but if they think there could be Draugr around, or anything else that could require them to take their heads out of their asses, they just run for the hills. Well, now that we've gone underground to check out a potential home, how about we do just the opposite, and head upwards towards the sky? This wondrous number here is called Whitepeak Tower, made by Balser 58. It sits stoically on a mountain located west of Whiterun, and it overlooks the plains with threatening authority. It's a bit of a steep climb up to the front door here, so immediately I'm thinking this might be largely inaccessible to those in their twilight years and people who are city guards. I hear that knee injuries in that field are pretty common in Skyrim. Although, I guess if you're old and well off enough to afford a tower like this, you can probably pay a servant or two to do everything and never have to leave your house. Oh shit! A couple of dead vampires! What'd they do, try sunbathing? No, vampires aren't stupid. Mostly. They must have fought someone. Oh, yep. Right over here, a member of the Dawn Guard. Could this be the homeowner? I mean, the architecture is definitely Dawn Guard style, so yeah, I think it's plausible. So this is the home of a vampire hunter. Honestly, he messed up living up in a tower this conspicuous and not having at least a couple of guards on his payroll. A place like this in the middle of Whiterun fields is bound to draw some attention. You can see it from miles away. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if Jarl Balgruuf himself has tried to buy this place before. It's just such a good vantage point. Damn it, it's locked. You couldn't even unlock your house before you died? Some people are so inconsiderate these days. Key's gotta be around here somewhere. What's this? Oh, score. Okay, let's head in. Wait. Is that a goddamn chemtrail? Whatever, I cannot be thinking about that right now. Ah, this is really nice. Very spacious entryway here. There's no doormat, once again, but with the raised floor here, I think we're in the clear. Snowy and muddy boots can stay down here on the cobblestone. This is definitely a shoes-off type household. Good thing I'm not wearing any. Look at this absolute feast. Roasted venison, baked potatoes, pheasant, cheese, wine. I think it's safe to say that our late homeowner out there was expecting guests. I bet those vampires came here to crash the dinner party in hopes of assassinating some valuable members of the Dawn Guard. But the silly fanged felons arrived a few hours too early. They would have to have a mole so that they could be invited in the first place, though, right? Wait, do Skyrim vampires even follow that rule? I don't think they do. I don't think Skyrim vampires have to be invited to enter your home. It's always such a hassle to work out which vampire rules apply when and where. Some of them burn in sunlight, some of them just sparkle. Some of them are allergic to garlic, and others can eat it just fine. Vampires are just so inconsistent throughout media because everyone wants their own rules. Why can't we just have a standardized formula, then we'd always be on the same page? All this wishy-washy writing on vampire lore is harmful to children too. You know why? If all the movies say different things, then how are kids supposed to know how to deal with one in real life? It happens to all of us at some point. Think of the kids once in a while, Stephanie Meyer. Okay, the banner above the mantle looks nice, and I don't think it's a fire code violation. The stone of the fireplace should really go further out, though. This wooden floor looks pretty untreated. If you get some good sparks landing around here, it's gonna burn. Jeez, the amount of fire hazards in this video so far. What are we at, 2 or 3? Someone should start a damn Skyrim firefighting guild. I bet they could get a lot of public funding because, let's face it, even pyromancers probably don't want their homes burning down. Also, not to backseat chef or anything, but this stew is not going to cook evenly like this. This tower seems like a very sturdy construction so far, I have to say. The windows aren't too big at all, and stone is a great thermal insulator, so I think you'll be pretty warm in here year-round, even with the high-altitude winds you might get. Ah, here's a staircase. Let's go up. Wow, this is nice. We've got some bookshelves, some display cases here and there. There's places to display your Dragon Priest mask collection, several unique books, and there's even a spot for Ariel's bow and shield from the Dawnguard DLC. Yeah, nice. I love a good, modest trophy room, with the Museum of the Dragonborn thingy being the most extreme example, of course. This trophy room you can fill out reasonably within a single playthrough. With the museum, I can pretty much guarantee you won't ever fill it all the way out, especially if you're like me and you add a bunch of extra display mods to it like a lunatic. I love having way more content than I'll ever be able to experience in a game. At least, I love the idea of it. Ah, look at this little reading nook back here. Isn't this just so cozy? Oh yeah, I could read for hours back here. Well, maybe not hours, but 10 to 20 minutes easily. This is a nice thing to have if you like collecting books. If we go up a floor, we have the master bedroom. It's very standard. You got your hearth, writing desk, bookshelves, and canopy bed. Not much spice here, but it's got all you need. Wardrobes, too, for storing armor and clothes. You know what, I think I'll take this opportunity to stash this armor. It's chafing in spots. Yeah, so I've seen this raising platform idea for a canopy bed in other places too, and I just don't understand it. I guess it might be good if you have mice or bugs? I don't know. For me, it just looks like a tripping hazard. I would get out of bed early in the morning and eat wholesale shit, forgetting that I have to step down. We've all done it before, where you think you're at the bottom of the staircase, but there's really one more stair. Imagine doing that while you're half asleep. It's 10 times more jarring. You're gonna give yourself a heart attack like that. Up one more floor is what I'd describe as a barracks, or I guess a children's shared bedroom. Damn, that's a lot of beds. I count 6 in all. Maybe the homeowner did have guards and they just got fired for lollygagging. Yeah, that's definitely it. This is not a children's bedroom. There's no way anyone with a sane mind would trust up to 6 children to have access to a working hearth. That is asking for trouble. The next floor up is the last one, and it's a laboratory of sorts. Your standard enchanting table and alchemy station setup. 2 must-haves for any avid vampire hunter. I kinda do like the loft up there, but it feels like a bit of a waste, since the walkable area is so small that it's only really good for storage. If you had a full floor up here, you could have a library, or better yet, an observatory. I guess you'd lose a little bit of visual finesse if you did that, but come on, who doesn't want an observatory upstairs? The night sky is freaking beautiful, man. You could charge 50 septims a body to let people come up here and look at constellations and stuff. That's a solid side hustle, and if the land taxes on this place are anything close to what I think they are, you're gonna need it. Oh hey, the basement, I forgot. What's down here? Some wine, a workbench, and our old friend indoor forge with 0 ventilation. Hope you enjoy suffocating. Hey, that's a big cabinet. Oh, a secret doorway, huh? Interesting. Oh, it's a vault of some kind. Chests, weapon racks, display cases. You got the works down here. There are display spots for the actual Elder Scrolls down here, so that explains the hidden entrance, although really, those things could destroy the world. They can rewrite time itself or whatever, right? You'd really want to lock them up a bit tighter and a bit more discreetly than an unlocked cabinet in the basement of a very conspicuous tower on the top of a mountain. It's a good thing the previous tenant hadn't found them. Then I would have gotten to them, and who knows what I'd be capable of then. That about does it for our tour of Whitepeak Tower. I think from a livability standpoint, it's alright. It's got good insulation, plenty of space, and some nice features, but with how steep the climb is to get up here, and how much of a target you'll be to the local population of ne'er-do-wells, living here wouldn't be without its issues. There's that, and unlike Morskom Estate, which is in a village, and Myrkheimr, with its great hunting area and access to water, Whitepeak Tower lacks access to the same resources. If you want to hunt, you'd probably do fine since the Whiterun Plains have decent game, but for water, you'd have to come all the way down to this river to fill up, and then you'd have to go all the way back up. Stocking up your weekly supply of water could take hours, maybe even a whole day if you've got a family. I guess living in such a fashionable and bold home has its drawbacks. At least you can always appreciate the view. Damn. You can see straight to Whiterun from here. It's beautiful. All the homes we've looked at so far have been nice, but they're all so findable, you know? The estate is in a town, the tomb is right next to the main road, and this tower here is very head-turning. What if you just want to disappear? What if you want to have your home in a place where you could never see another person again? This next home takes us right up to the border between the Rift and Eastmarch, up near Iverstead. This is Hermit's Stump, by Haem Productions. It's built into the side of a mountain. It's far away from any main roads. If you want to get to it, you have to trek through a good stretch of wilderness before you even find it. If you want to get away from society for a while, or forever, This is the place. Ooh, witchy. Wow, look at this. It's gorgeous. I see there's a population of wild elk in this cave, so that's food figured out. Or companionship if you happen to be vegetarian. And if that's the case, it looks like there are plenty of mushrooms to go around too. What's that up there? Is that a huge scrying orb of some kind? Holy shit, look at the size of it! Actually, the frame around it makes me think portal, but what could possibly require a portal this huge? That's worrisome. But let's take a look at this little number. Butter churn, tanning rack, grindstone, anvil. It's got everything you need to make a sword out of butter. There's all manner of planters over here too, so you could do a bit of gardening if you don't feel like living off mushrooms and elk meat your entire life. But this water, it looks pretty stagnant. I wouldn't drink this. Still water is already a no-no under most conditions, but still water that's underground? That's how you get diseases that no one's had for like centuries. No, instead get your water from the waterfall over here by the statue of Debella. How'd this thing get down here anyway? It doesn't matter. It looks gorgeous. Jeez, you might even be able to fish here too, who knows? Okay, enough foreplay. Let's check out the main house. I love how old and hermity it looks. The name Hermit Stump certainly fits. The crooked tower on top really pulls the disjointed aesthetic together, along with the Shire-ass door. Oh, it's a lot more clean in here than I expected. I was thinking it would be something closer to that tomb from earlier, but this is very well maintained. There's plenty of knickknacks on the shelves over here. Is that...
a new hand?
No! Yeah, it's suitably small in here for a recluse. Not much in the way of accommodation, but I guess if you need to live in seclusion like this, that might be the least of your worries. Lots of these Skyrim buildings suffer from what I call TARDIS syndrome, where the space is a lot bigger on the inside than it looks outside. Well, not here. It looks cramped from the outside, and it is cramped. If you've been adventuring for a while and you've amassed a lot of stuff, I would avoid taking it all with you if you come down here. Leave the gems, leave the sets of armor, leave the money. Just throw all your personal possessions into a lake or something and come here to live humbly amongst the elk. If we head up the ladder, we've got the second of 2 rooms, the bedroom. 1 bed, 1 chest, and an alchemy table. Very humble. Honestly, that's really all you need. I bet it smells nice and mossy in here with all the greenery creeping between the spaces and the planks. Man, all this furniture is actually really high quality. Someone must have had a field day looting some Solitude Noble's home or something. I really like things in jars from an interior design perspective. Mushroom, barnacle, lichen, poisonous flower. Everything just looks much more interesting when you shove it in a jar. As long as you don't set it on top of a radiator, that is. It's good that we don't have those in Skyrim. Not sure what this cooking pot is doing here. It's functional, but it really shouldn't be. There's no heat, unless the pot is enchanted or something. It looks more like a wash basin that hasn't been cleaned in, ever. Man, it's tranquil in here. If it weren't for the elk outside, sleeping up here in this bed, miles away from any other soul, would be the best sleep you're ever gonna get. You're surrounded by rustic charm, and also you have like the perfect sleeping sound outside with the waterfall. It's going to get muffled by the walls, and it's not going to be too loud. It's going to be perfect. I guess it would be pretty cold in here, given that we're in a watery cave up in the mountains, but that's nothing some thick blankets and clothes can't fix. Personally, I've always slept better in cold weather anyway. This would be heaven for me. This place totally gets a passing grade from me. Even if there's no fish in the pond, and even though you wouldn't realistically be able to grow much in this cave, the woods are right outside and they are full of potential meals. You could eat the elk, but I don't know, I kind of like them. They're growing on me. They would provide some much needed companionship down here. Even the most reclusive of hermits have their animal companions. Naming them will be a lot of fun too. The color and lighting direction in Hermit Stump is so enchanting. It's like Blackreach, but with more color and less Crimson Nirnroot noise pollution. Whether you're a reclusive witch, a wanted criminal, or just an aged adventurer who just lost their partner in a tragic accident, this place has got your back. I can't say with certainty that you will not be getting your mail here, though. If the courier doesn't trip and fall into the ravine on your doorstep or get mauled by a bear, they're just gonna get lost. So you can say goodbye to book club. And with that, I think that's all we have time for in this episode. Overall, I'm surprised at how well these player-created homes lend themselves to real-life living. Besides the numerous fire hazards, of course. All of the homes we looked at today are livable to some degree, but if I had to pick one that I would prefer to actually live in for real, it would have to be Hermit's Stump. Morskom Estate is a close second, but I don't know, it's just a bit too big for me. And I would definitely get more attention than I'd like from the locals owning the biggest home in the village by far. Hermit's Stump is just cold, which I'm okay with. All of these wonderful homes we explored only exist thanks to the throngs of people still committed to making stuff for Skyrim this many years later. Skyrim's modding community is an utter powerhouse of creativity. Dozens of good mods get released every single day, and it shows no signs of stopping anytime soon. I think the community alone has shot Skyrim into the stratosphere of gaming history. Completely unmodded, Skyrim is good. It's a fun RPG that's accessible to beginners and has some slightly bad but charming writing. But when you give the player the keys to sculpt the world, and rend the very stars from the sky to tailor their own experiences to themselves, it becomes something of a gaming odyssey. I think we can safely say that there won't ever be another game like Skyrim anytime soon. It really is one of those rare, once-in-a-lifetime gems, all thanks to the community's contributions. It's magical. That is all I have to say for this episode. If you're curious as to which mods I used throughout the video, I will be linking my full mod list in the description below. Thanks for tuning in to this special episode of Where Are We Now? And if you celebrate Christmas, don't forget to do your gift shopping nice and early. Alright. See ya.